All right, y'all. Happy Monday. I'm excited to be with you guys, and we are in for a treat tonight. I cannot wait to hear from my friend Megan. I had the privilege of going to Arizona last year, didn't really even know what we were getting into. Krista put a trip together with our jewels, and then Jen Leith was like, hey, can me and a couple of my jewels come? And we were like, let's do it. We had so much fun, and it was a joy getting to know her. I found out that she went sapphire and diamond in the same month. She's always in momentum. Anytime I look into her team, they are rocking and rolling. She has incredible tips. She's an amazing trainer. She was in Nashville training us. And I just read, was it last month, Megan, that you went diamond gold, or was that this month?
That was this month, but we did it like, I don't know, on the 19th of the month. It was insane.
Insane. I love it. I love it. Okay. And then I just read on her page that she added 44 people to their team today. So in a slow month, don't want you guys to get discouraged. Typically January and February, we call them planting seed months. You're building, but there are always exceptions to the rule. I read on the Jewel page that somebody ranked up to diamond, which is 4,500 points, and they also hit their re-entry rank as well. So that means that their team has grown before the 28th of the month by an incredible amount of points, and they're slaying it. So even in any time of the month, know that your team can be in momentum. So do the things, keep doing the things, and know that it's going to hit you if you're doing the right thing. I always see in Team Revive that March and April are huge months for us. Next month is going to be the last month that you're going to earn things for convention. So you want to set yourself up for success. One of the main reasons we're having Megan come and talk and share with you today. So I don't want to take up any more of your time. I'm going to hand it right over to her. I know she's rocking and rolling on the end of the month, so we don't want to take too much out of your time either, Megan. But thank you so very much for coming to share with us. We can't wait to hear all you have to say.
Yes, it's such an honor to get to share with you guys. And just to clarify, that was my team that added 44, not like me personally. I've never had a month where I signed up 44 people. It is definitely a team effort. But speaking of convention, okay, actually, I will start a little bit of my story there because I feel like it is so pertinent to everything else, because that is really, honestly, and truly where my business took off and where I caught the vision for what this could be. Okay, so a little background on me. Morgan shared some of the highlights. Let me backtrack it a little bit for you guys to the Megan who, when my husband and I got married, I told him, hey, babe, I just want you to know I never want to work. Never, ever. I said, I'm not cut out for a 9 to 5. Like, I'm not made for that business world. I don't want any part of it. I just want to stay at home and raise babies. And so that is what I have been doing for like the last, 8 or 9 years. I've been at home with my babies. But for the last 5, I've been bringing in an incredible income. It's really crazy to say that our family went from being on Medicaid to now a multi 6-figure earner. Like, what world does that happen in, you guys? And so for us, it all got started. We used to make fun of plexus. Okay, let me just also share that. Alita Langford's one of our really good family friends. And we used to make fun of her. Like, we were like, oh, I don't know what to pink drink, all about gut health, blah, blah, blah. We just didn't truly understand the importance of gut health and what it was. And so eventually we decided to say yes to these products. But when we did, we were in a place financially where we were really struggling. So a year before that, my husband had unexpectedly gotten let go from his job. I was 20 weeks pregnant with our second baby, and it was the week of my best friend's wedding. And honestly, that led us down what we call like a series of unfortunate events. I don't know if you've ever had that happen in your life. Yes, God's hand is all over it. And if we weren't in that dark season, we would have never been able to get to where we are right now. So I don't devalue any of the things that we learned during that. But if I could have chosen, I would have chosen not to have that season. Okay. It was a rough season. And so we went from, my husband had a really great job to now all of a sudden, like, what is happening? And so I never ever thought that our kids would be on Medicaid. I never thought that would be our life, but here we were. And in that season is when we started Plexus. So we really couldn't afford the products. But we decided that we were going to, and we said yes. And my husband and I both started. And in the meantime, I was doing another network marketing company. I wasn't doing it very well and I wasn't successful, but I was doing it. And so it came time to convention. It was about, 4 or 5 months in. Alita had asked me every single month to post, and she tried to get me to go silver. And here's what I will say. She wasn't annoying. She wasn't pushy, but every single month she asked me to post. Every single month she asked me to go silver. And I'd say, I just don't think this is the month. I just don't think this is it. I don't think this is the month I'm going to go silver. And little did she know I was going to be one of her fastest growing jewels on her team. It took me 5 months to go silver, but she never gave up. She just kept doing her job. And so finally, there was like a silly contest with a water bottle from corporate or something. I don't know. So I added 2 people and I signed my husband up and I went silver. And I was like, okay, this is fun. And so convention was like the next month. And I was already signed up for another convention with another company. Okay. And my husband was like, you've got to choose. Like, what do you want to do? You got to go all in with one of them. You can't have this door open. You can't try to do 2 things at once. You got to close that back door and choose. And so Alita and Jennifer were like, Megan, you really need to come to convention with us. And my husband's like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, it was literally like a week before convention was in Vegas. I still had a nursing baby. Okay. And they were like, you have to come. I was like, oh, I said, you know what? I really felt in my gut that I was supposed to do this. And it didn't make sense on paper. And I said, you know what? I'm canceling my other convention that I'm going to, and I am going to go to this one. I had never, I had done a lot of traveling with my kids before that, but I had never flown by myself to a city that I didn't have family picking us up. So the very first step for me was like really getting outside of my comfort zone and saying, I'm going to travel by myself to Vegas with a baby where I really don't know anyone. I only knew Alita. I didn't know anybody else. And so we all crammed into a room. It was me and Alita and Latoya and Lisa, and Latoya was sharing a bed with me and my baby. And it was all kinds of crazy in Vegas. Okay. I was up at 3:45 every morning with my child because of the time change, like walking up and down the hallways. It was not easy, you guys. It was not easy, but I'm so glad that I made that decision, because what you will notice in this business is that it's step after step after step of doing things outside of your comfort zone, doing things that scare you, doing things that that is the road less traveled. That's not always easy, but those trade-offs and those sacrifices are worth it. Because while I was there, while I was in Vegas at convention, I remember seeing all the top earners stand up on the stage, and I'm standing in the back with my baby carrier, bouncing my baby. All you mamas out there, you get me, right? So I'm standing back there and I'm watching them, and I remember so clearly they're talking about how one of them had less than 200 friends on Facebook when they got started, and now they're at the top of the company, and they all went through one by one and they're sharing their stories. And I thought, there is nothing different between them on the stage and me. There's nothing different. If they can do it, I can do it too. And so I drew my line in the sand and I said right there, right then, I said, I will come back next year as an emerald. I'm going to do this. And it seemed crazy. And I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I had the belief that I could. And so what I want to encourage you guys with is draw your line in the sand, decide on a goal and say, I'm running after this with everything that I have. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but you don't have to know how. We like to say that you can jump and grow your wings on the way down. You will figure it out. The how will come to you once you make the decision. It's not the other way around. If we had all the steps lined up for us before, we wouldn't need to have that faith to take that leap to say yes. And so I drew my first ever little dream board while I was there at convention. It was just a little emerald, and it said Emerald by Convention 20, I guess it was 18 at that point. And so that was my very first steps with dream boards, with vision casting, with laying out what I was going to do, and just determining like, hey, I'm going for this. And so the speaker that was there, his name was Les Brown, and he is to this day one of my absolute favorite motivational speakers that there is. And he was the speaker that year, and he said, I want you guys to watch this video every single day for the next 30 days. And so I came home and I watched that video almost every single day for a year. Okay. Because I needed to check my mindset every single day, sometimes every hour of the day, right? Anyone else with me? The negative thoughts just come flooding in, and we're like, I got to flip that script and I need to choose to focus on something positive, because there are going to be so many doubts and so many fears along the way. But the Lord says we are not supposed to have a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And part of having a sound mind is, what are you focusing on? Because there's a phrase, it's called what in the personal growth world, that says what you focus on expands. And so real quickly, I'm just going to break down the science of that. So basically we have this thing in our brain that is called the reticular activating system. We're going to call it RAS for short. Okay. And so this part of the brain, its job is to filter out all the additional sensory things that we have going on. At any given moment, you could have over 2 million sensory things coming at you. I mean, have you ever been in a house with a lot of kids? I mean, come on, there's a lot happening right there. And so you wonder, how does your brain know what is important? Right? It knows what is important based on what you focus on the most. So whatever you tell your brain is important, it's only going to pick up evidence of those things. So if you have a negative mindset and you are only focusing on the bad things, there could be all of these other blessings and good things happening on around you, but your brain is actually going to filter those out and you're not going to see them, because in your mind, you have said, this is not important. But if you can flip that script and focus on gratitude and focus on positivity, all of a sudden your brain is going to start picking up examples of that everywhere that you go. So if you have a limiting belief that you're a bad leader, you know what evidence your brain's going to point out to you all the time? Examples of when you weren't the best leader. Right? Because that's what you're telling yourself, and your brain wants to prove you correct. But if you are starting to fill your mind with these positive affirmations, and you're thinking on whatever is true, whatever is right, whatever is noble, whatever is pure, all of these things, your brain is going to pick up evidence of those things. That's why the things that you say to yourself, it matters. Even if you're not saying it out loud to anybody else, but you're saying it internally, your brain is remembering that. Your brain is picking up on those things, and it's filtering out everything else that does not fall in line with what you say is important. So the words that you speak over yourself, the thoughts that you have, it matters. And so if you have a thought that comes into your brain that is not serving you well, you have the power to dismiss that. Okay. You have the power to do that. You do not have to accept every thought that just comes flooding to your head. Okay. You have the power to break up with that thought that is not serving you well. And this is where awareness comes in, you guys. I would say, honestly, probably one of the biggest things in my journey with Plexus, along the way, has been gaining personal awareness and getting to know myself and getting to know how unique I am, and the way that God created me and the way that my brain works. And all the different factors that are going around. It's why I preach down counseling, because I think that it is so important to be able to work through those lifelong issues that we've had, right? We all have things from our past that comes up. Even if you had what you would consider like a magical, amazing childhood, there are still things that have shaped who you are today that are affecting the way you're showing up in your business. But so many times, okay, if you're ever in your business and you're feeling stuck, you're using the phrase, I'm stuck, I'm not growing, I'm not this, I'm hitting a wall, whatever it is that you're saying to yourself. And if I were to sit there and ask you, well, what's going on? Like what's happening there? And most likely you would want to say, well, I don't know. Okay. That's the phrase we like to throw on. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why my team's not in momentum. I don't know why I'm not signing people up. I don't know why I'm not hitting this rank. I don't know why I'm not growing. I don't know why I'm not developing silvers. I don't know. But the truth is, you always know, but sometimes we are unwilling to see it. Because we have the ability to coach ourselves. Really, that's what I empower people. I love coaching people, but I truly love to empower people to coach themselves. Because if you can be open and honest and have eyes to see what is really blocking you, what is really going on. I tell people in coaching sessions with me, the only thing you're not allowed to say is, I don't know. I said, you can say, I'm unwilling to see it, but you are not allowed to utter the words, I don't know. And so if you can be honest, okay, so for me, I'm going to give you an example. So we went really fast and we went emerald in a year. But after that, I had a lot of self sabotage. I had a lot of head trash. And what was happening is I had a limiting belief that you could not be a successful businesswoman and a great mom. And so it took months of counseling to uncover this. But once we finally got to the root of the issue and we dug it up and got it out, then I was able to move forward. I was able to get out of that stuck place because I wasn't just throwing dirt on the weed. I was digging it up. You have to dig up those limiting beliefs at the root and figure out what is going on. So there's another term. It's called shadow intentions. And so when we go to do something in our business, okay, say you're really struggling with IPAs, or you have somebody in your business who's really struggling with your IPAs. Well, you got to figure out, okay, what thought is coming to their mind that is counteracting what they're saying that they want to do, right? Because so many times we have good intentions and we have goals that we're going after, and we say we have these things that we want to do, yet time and time again, we're not doing them. So what is going on? So what we have to do is we have to illuminate those shadow intentions. And those shadow intentions are, it's combating the thing that you want to do, because you have limiting beliefs that are trying to protect yourself, right? So if you're finding that you're not posting the way that you know you should, or you're not leading the way you know you should, or you're not doing the shout out post you know the way you should, well, you probably have some kind of limiting belief in there that people are going to judge me if I share this, or I'm not a good leader so I can't develop silvers, or whatever it is. It goes back layers and layers and layers, even deeper than that. But if you can illuminate what is actually blocking you, what limiting beliefs you have there, and you can bring it out into the light, then you can combat it. Okay, that's where that whole self-awareness comes from. You want to illuminate those limiting beliefs. If you're finding yourself, constantly saying you want to do something and then you're not doing it, you have to try to figure out, okay, well, what is combating this? What limiting belief am I believing, or what lie am I believing about myself that is causing me to not take action, to not do these things? And so that has been huge for me. The self-awareness, knowing what sort of things kind of trigger me, knowing what limiting beliefs that I have and overcoming them. And it's not like all of a sudden you just get to diamond and then you have zero limiting beliefs. Okay. So in the beginning, Morgan talked about, how on my reentry leg, I just hit gold. And, we did it pretty early on in the month, but let me tell you, for the last year, I have been sitting on that account at silver. And I was so torn. I wasn't making a decision. Okay. I wasn't making a decision between what I was going to do and where I was going to work and all these different things. I didn't have a lot of clarity. And honestly, I had a lot of limiting beliefs of, okay, we did all these amazing things to get to diamond. What if I can't do it again? What if I can't do it all over again? Then I start second guessing myself and saying all these things. Well, maybe I just got lucky to diamond. Maybe I just which is not true at all. Okay. Nobody luckily gets their way to diamond. And when we say things like that and we come up with these reasons why other people are where they're at, it really takes the power away from you, saying like, well, they were just lucky. So it feels like you have zero control over your success, over your actions, over where you're going to. And I'm just going to pull up a quote really quick. From the book Atomic Habits, which I absolutely love. I finished it. I'm reading it again. And it says, until you work as hard as those you admire, don't explain away their success as luck. And I think we do that so many times. I did it to myself, you guys. I was here with myself the whole journey to diamond. Okay. I know what it takes. I know the hard work. I know the trade-offs. I know the sacrifices. I know the scary things that I did to get there. And I was doubting myself and I was calling it luck. Okay. Even though I know that wasn't true. And so we have this way of just sabotaging ourselves. And finally, when I got out of my own way, and I declared, I'm actually going for this. I'm going to do this again. Watch me do it again. Because part of my whole thing in Plexus has been a phrase that we love is to say, your dreams are possible. And so I have liked to push the envelope on what people think is possible, simply to show them what they can do. right? And so some of the things that you'll hear in our story, it's not conventional. It's not for everyone. Going emeralds in a year was really crazy. Double ranking sapphire and diamond was crazy. You know, we grew in 2020 from 1,700 points in February to June, we had 6,200 points. That's crazy, you guys. But part of our mission and part of our passion is to push the envelope, to show people that your dreams are possible, that you actually can do this. If you truly believe that you can do this and you get out of your own way, right? Then you can absolutely do this. And so I just want you to know, I wanted to share that personal story about my reentry because I still struggle with those things. It is every single day I have to take my thoughts captive. It's not like I did it once and then I got to where I wanted. It's even now, even though I am at a place where I love, okay, and just to give you guys an example, of where we're at right now, all the things that I'm living out, and I still had those doubts, okay, is so my husband and I, we had $100,000 in student loan debt, okay, and with Plexus we were able to pay off all of that in 15 months, okay, which is crazy if you think about it. I mean, think about how many people are living under the thumb of student loan debt, and we were able to pay it off in 15 months because of Plexus. And then something else, like literally every single thing in our life right now was once just a vision on our dream board, and it's our reality now. We always said from the time my husband and I got married that we wanted to move to Tennessee. We wanted to be closer to my parents. In 2020, we were able to move out to Tennessee. We literally live right next door to my parents. My kids can ride their quads and walk back and forth through the goat fields to my parents, over to their log cabin. That was a dream that we always wanted, and we're living it every single day. Something else that was a huge vision for me is that I wanted to build a playground for my kids. We never lived in a place that was our own where we could build something like that. Before we moved to Tennessee, we were in a townhouse that we owned, but we couldn't have a playground. We couldn't do that. And so I always had dreams and visions of what this was going to be like. And I looked out at our yard the other day, and this can make me so emotional. I looked out at everything that's there. I looked out at the massive playground that we built for our kids. I looked at the fire pit that was there. I looked at the pool that we're putting in, that we're cash flowing, an $80,000 pool that we're cash flowing right now because of Plexus. You guys, and this is not about this stuff, but we have always said that we wanted to have a place that was welcoming, where people could come and they could feel at peace and just relax and connect with nature and do all this kind of stuff. When we were living in a townhouse, we could not do that. Okay. And now we're here. We are creating a life that we envisioned. I have spent hours visualizing, dreaming, getting specific, writing things out. I know exactly how I want these things to look. I have these visions. And so many times we have these dreams in our hearts. We have these dreams that are placed there for a purpose, and then we doubt it. We get this idea, we get this vision, we think, what would life look like if time or money weren't a thing? And then we get this vision, and then we say, it's just not possible. It's just not possible. Well, when we were on Medicaid, it seemed really impossible. How are we going to pay off $100,000 in student loan debt when we can barely buy groceries? How are we going to move out to Tennessee? How are we going to do all of these things? It seemed impossible. Well, we serve a God who does the impossible. It doesn't have to make sense, but you just have to have the faith to step out and say yes. Stop letting fear rule your life. Stop letting fear rule your decisions, because it doesn't have to be that way. Your life could be exceedingly abundantly above and beyond all the things that you could ever ask or seek, but you are letting fear stand in the way. And so you have to declare that you are no longer going to live in fear. It is a daily process. It is a daily surrender to turn those fears and those things over. But I am living proof that it can happen. And we are just on the brink of things, you guys. We've only scratched the surface, right? And so I just think about all the things that are going to come in the future, and I'm filled with so much gratitude. And if you guys can return to gratitude every single day, I think that is the number one tool that we have that is free, that we do not use nearly enough. You retrain your brain every time you go to gratitude. When my kids are having a bad attitude, I say, tell me 3 things that you're grateful for right now, because I want to train them to see the good around them. I don't want them to miss the blessings that are there, but that they're not seeing them. And so when you are actually, I mean, you can study like energy levels and all this different kind of stuff, and gratitude is at one of the highest energy levels. So if you're feeling really low, fear is one of the lowest, okay? So if you are sitting there in fear and doubt and disbelief and all these things, the best thing that you can do is sit there and start rattling off things that you're grateful for. And you will actually physically feel your energy heighten. Okay, it will change your whole demeanor. It will change your whole attitude. It will change the way that you view things. That one simple task takes 30 seconds to switch your brain around and start saying something that you're grateful for, and it will absolutely change your life. So that's what I have for you guys today.
Oh my gosh, Megan, thank you so much. So powerful. I'm just over here like, okay, I'm about to go renew my mind. You're straight preaching to us. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for taking time out of the end of the month. And this is foundational, friends. Most of us need to start right here, because when we switch our mindset to this, everything is going to change. When we're grateful for what we already have and we believe that we can go farther, you guys are going to start to see explosions in your teams, because it's going to trickle down from top to bottom. Okay. So, you're hearing Megan, you can't say somebody just got lucky, or, oh, they must have had tons of friends, or you continue to see people in Plexus who have flipped that script, who did start with a super low network, who didn't know anybody, and they grew their own network. They pushed past those limiting beliefs that you think you can't do it. And they said, oh no, wait, watch me, I can do it. And Megan's team is proof of that. So thank you, thank you, thank you for joining us tonight. I am not going to keep us any longer, because I know a lot of us are going through those back offices, trying to get those orders in, because it's the last day of the month. You guys know all subscriptions have ran. So go for 3 people, go for whatever you want. It's never too late. And start now for March. I believe we're going to see huge momentum in March, and I cannot wait. So I'm going to end in prayer like we always do, and then I'll let y'all go. God, we just thank you so much for who you are. I thank you for Megan and her team, and just the example they are to us, to just put your hands out and say, God, let's give you all the stuff inside, get to the root of our issues, and help us live in freedom of fear and change our mindsets for all that's possible, for what you want for each of our teams. I bless each person here. I pray for a great end of the month, these last couple hours, and for an amazing March. I pray for each of the people that were on here, that you would just tug our hearts where we need to change our mindset, or show us, even just highlight those things that might be a limiting belief holding us back, and dig at those roots. God, we thank you for who you are. We bless your name. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right. Love y'all. See you next week.